Finally, Chelsea is back. So many of you have been messaging me for an update, and I'm sorry this took so long to upload, but she's back with 2 months worth of growth, absolutely no chips, just extremely long curved inward nails. To fix that, we decided to change her shape to almond, and because they grew out so nicely, I could make them more pointy, which is her preferred shape. Her nails needed some major work. I cleaned her crusties, and as many of you know, one of her middle fingers grows extremely crooked, so I had to fix that, and she let me this time. Oh, and by the way, we're doing a spring set today, telling you this because the rest of the video will be tea and unrelated to nails. The last time she came in, she told me her husband didn't like how long our appointments were because it takes time away from her being with the baby. During her appointment, she told me she put her foot down. She read all your comments and agreed that her nails are her me time and she's allowed to take time for herself to relax a bit. She's back to work now and she goes into the office every day but had to hire a babysitter because although her husband works from home, he can't watch the baby, which is understandable. He apparently got mad at her for wanting to go back to work. His assumption was that she'd be a stay-at-home mom, saying his salary is enough for both of them. But Chelsea said she's never depending on a man again.
So I want to do a story time on this cheap, annoying ass customer that we had today at the salon. So she already came with an attitude demanding that we fix her toes because apparently we fucked it up yesterday or something. And then so we're like, oh, okay, we're sorry, like whatever. Come sit down at the pedicure chair, we'll start on you. And then it had to be me, who had to fucking fix her toes. And mind you, she said that she got them done yesterday. And I know what yesterday toes look like. Her toes look like she'd been through World War 3, 4, 5, and 6, bitch. They were like a month grown now. They were stained fucking yellow and chipped. Dirt under the toes and all, like long ass fucking toenail. So at this point I was like, there's no fucking way this bitch gotta be playing with me. And I literally would not be this pissed if she just wasn't such a bitch about it. Cause I asked her, I was like, who did your toes yesterday? And then she started being hella mean and shit. Like cussing at us and shit, saying it's our problem, not hers. Like, ooh, bitch started projecting on us. But you know what? Happy ending, cause you know what we did? We banned her.
Here's a hoe story. So, not that long ago, this man I met on Tinder. My first real Tinder hookup because he wasn't friends with anyone that, like, I already knew. Like, there was no acquaintances. So I was like, you know what, like, why not? And I get there. First of all, he has his own house, and it's a nice house, bitch! And I walk into his room, and this man is wearing a white silk shirt tucked into his black pants. Like, he was an e-boy, which is, like, hot. Dangly earring. And the music that he had playing was The Weeknd. And like, you know, like we started doing the deed. And he flipped me over. And right as he did that, I See Red came on. When I tell you, that was 10 out of 10. Dude, if you see this.
It's been a full year since I've heard from this lovely client. If you remember from my previous video, she came to me once asking to do a basic manicure with regular polish. She's been painting her own nails her whole life, but ever since she was diagnosed with arthritis, it's gotten more difficult. During this appointment, she said she still paints them on her own because it's relaxing for her. And ever since she lost her husband, that's something that puts her mind at ease and helps relieve any anxiety. But the one thing she's scared to touch are her cuticles. Her hands shake and she ends up cutting herself because her skin is very thin and sensitive. As you saw earlier, her skin sticks on top of her nail, which makes it very difficult to push back. She came to me hoping I'd help, and I'm so happy she did. I safely lifted that outgrown skin, which fully revealed her nail and gave her hands an entirely different look. She chose this beautiful red shimmer polish and told me she felt like a completely new person. Because she paints her own nails, I gave her a little pouch with some essentials.
Part 2 of the time a nail salon took advantage of my blindness. We go back and forth a few times. I'm positive that I gave her the right amount, really counting it back to her, and she's like, no, you're wrong. And at this point, more people are walking into the salon, so I'm getting really uncomfortable. Back at it, I should have pulled out my phone that has a money reader on it and read her the money using my screen reader, but I was super uncomfortable and more people were walking in, and I just wanted to leave it at that. My sister was paying somewhere else. I had no idea where she was, and I didn't want to call out to her or anything. So when we got home, I wanted to double check that these people were actually scamming me. My sister helped me look at the money, and aside from the amount I paid for my nails, obviously, in the tip, I was missing $20. We can learn something from most situations, and this situation just taught me to not carry around cash. I never went to that nail salon again. I actually got my nails somewhere else today, and I think they look pretty good. I mean, I can't see them, but let me know.
This lovely client is back much sooner than expected. The last time she came to me was back in April because she only comes for special occasions. She brought me her little bag with all her supplies because she actually does her own nails at home with regular polish. She finds it relieves anxiety and it's therapeutic for her. She also thought I gave away all my regular polish to her last time in the little goodie bag I gave her, so she brought it back, which was so cute. So I asked her what the special occasion was because last time we had a whole year in between appointments. She said she was going on vacation, her first vacation since her husband passed, and that was 7 years ago. Her hands shake due to the arthritis, so she can't clean up her cuticles without cutting herself and wanted them to look perfect for her trip. I noticed her hands were drier than usual, so I gave her cuticle oil, one that she can even take with her. You could tell she's fascinated.
Story time about the time a nail salon took advantage of my blindness. Sister and I got our nails done. We used to go all the time, and while the lady was doing my nails, she asked me how I knew how much money I had. At the time, I used cash, never again after this, but I told her that I folded my bills a certain way. I told her that I folded my 20s different than my 10s, different than my 5s, different than my 1s. Anything of her asking that question, I think it's a good question, and I just thought she was curious. I got done with my nails, she walked me towards the front, and my sister was actually just finishing up with hers, so it was perfect. There's another man at the front, and he asked me how I knew how much money I had. I told him the same thing. Before I left to go to the nail salon, I made sure exactly how much money I had. My sister helped me count it, helped me make sure that I folded the right bills, just so I knew how much I had, how much I would spend. I gave her the money, positive that I gave her the right amount because it was just folded, it was folded perfectly, and I counted it out. She takes it, starts talking in a different language, and then tells me that I owe her $20 more. Or I didn't, and I told her the exact amount I gave her, and she's like, no, you didn't give me this amount, you gave me that amount. Like for part 2.
So 8th grade summer, there was this guy who was really obsessed with me and my best friend. But we both didn't like him like that. I had a boyfriend and my friend is lesbian. But me and my friends were still like cool with him. We weren't mean to him or anything. Anyways, me and my friend were getting ready to go to the park one day. And we're getting on our bikes and I get a text from him saying, hey, do you want to meet at the park? The same park we were getting ready to go to. But we wanted it to be like a girls' day and we didn't want to have to deal with a guy, so we were like, sorry, we're not going to be able to go. So we get on our bikes and we head to the park hoping that he just left. So we're riding our bike past the park and we see him. So we rode our bike so fast away from the park. And I was really hoping he didn't see us, but I turn around and he is right behind us on his bike. So we stop at a gas station nearby and he's like, oh my god, I thought you guys couldn't go. And we were like,
it's been a full year since I've heard from this lovely client. If you remember from my previous video, she came to me once asking to do a basic manicure with regular polish. She's been painting her own nails her whole life, but ever since she was diagnosed with arthritis, it's gotten more difficult. During this appointment, she said she still paints them on her own because it's relaxing for her, and ever since she lost her husband, that's something that puts her mind at ease and helps relieve any anxiety. But the one thing she's scared to touch are her cuticles. Her hands shake, and she ends up cutting herself because her skin is very thin and sensitive. As you saw earlier, her skin sticks on top of her nail, which makes it very difficult to push back. She came to me hoping I'd help, and I'm so happy she did. I safely lifted that outgrown skin, which fully revealed her nail and gave her hands an entirely different look. She chose this beautiful red shimmer polish and told me she felt like a completely new person. Because she paints her own nails, I gave her a little pouch with some essentials.
What's a really weird thing that your body does that you're not sure anybody else's body does?
So apparently my best friend thinks this is my time to shine. When I was 2 years old, my mom slammed a door shut on my finger and it ripped off the top piece of my finger. This was back in the 90s, and I got a skin graft. So they took the skin, instead of taking it from like the back of my leg or a piece under my arm or something, they didn't want the scar to grow as I grew. So they took it from my groin area, my bikini line. Well, when I got home with the cast, I dunked my hand in the toilet and it got wet inside the cast, so my finger healed wrong and it turned brown, which is really weird. But that's not even the best part. So when I hit puberty and I started growing hair down there, I also started growing hair on my finger. Kids found that out in school and then they started calling me Coochie Finger. Anyways, here's my finger. Probably can't see the hair. If you're interested, I'll post another video of the hair close up.
I just matched with my dead wife on Tinder. I heard the front door of my house close and I tightened up in my bed. I started to write back. Why? I'm a dumbass. I don't know. Another message rang in before I could shoot mine off. You're on Tinder too soon, Derry. The pet name only the two of us used between each other. The logistics of who knew that name flashed through my head as I heard footsteps approach my unlocked bedroom door. Then the footsteps stopped right outside. They were accompanied by a fresh message in my inbox. You were supposed to warn me, not try to fuck 23-year-olds on Tinder. Oh my god. I realized right there that it was even following Allison's quirk to impeccably punctuate any kind of message even if it didn't matter, putting the dashes into 23-year-old. I spoke, finally. Allison, I'm sorry. I love you. I miss you. I've been sick to my stomach for 2 years. I had to move on. I threw up most mornings for almost a year. I was wrecked. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything, but I'm finally starting to put it together. I pleaded into the wood of my bedroom door, my throat went dry. I couldn't speak anymore, too choked up, just like I had been when I tried to give Allison's eulogy. I'm fucking sorry. Everything hurts. Every day. You're my only love. Forever. I barely got the words out. I couldn't hear or see anything, but I could sense someone out there on the other side of the door. Then I couldn't. Then I heard footsteps walk away. Then I heard my door close again. I checked the app. I had a message waiting for me. Okay. Goodbye. XO. I felt like my spine tried to climb out of my body. My entire being went numb. I couldn't feel anything other than an odd disconnected pain. It was her. I walked out to the front door.
I, 22 male, just learned that my sister, 29 female, had an abortion to be able to donate me part of her liver. It caused her divorce and I can't stop hating myself. I was very sick 4 years ago and was in need of a liver transplant. My situation was that it was very unlikely that I would get one in time. At that time, my sister was pregnant. I didn't know as it was early and she was only 2 months. My situation was getting worse and my sister decided to have an abortion, and then 2 months later we did the transplant surgery. Oh my god, what a nice sister. I never knew about the pregnancy. All I knew was that she gave me half of the liver. My sister and her husband divorced a year